By giving, people will be helping Nationwide Children's Hospital find cures, brighten patients' holidays, and people will be able to support their neighbors when they need it most. When they donate, they will activate in real time a butterfly-inspired light show for patients this holiday season. They will add holiday cheer to the lives of kids who really need a reason to smile. No one wants to think about their child being sick, but should that day come, the donation they make this year could help the care their child could need in the future. Please, give now at nationwidechildrens.org/give.
This is Jordan Grace, and you're listening to the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BWB, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular, dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rude. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit it, talk, bob your head side to side. It's One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
You got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
This is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans, and that's all that counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Bang.
Welcome to the December 26th edition of One Nation Radio. I am your host, Rich Latta, here alone this week. My co-host James is on his way to Japan. He will be taking in the festivities for all the great year-end shows over in Japan live in person. So happy for him. And that is really like a lifetime bucket list item for any wrestling fan. So James will be back on the show next week, and with live reporting from the ground over there. So I don't know how we're gonna do the time zones yet, but we're gonna figure it out. But a couple housekeeping items this week before we get going. So we were not on air last week. We had a couple things go on. One of them was the FOH draft, which was recorded a couple weekends ago. I think it was released on Thursday, and my God, was it one of the wildest pieces of audio that I can probably say I've ever been a part of. I went insane. I had 2 bottles of the Vintner's Red wine, and everybody else was on their various choice of drink, and we pretty much gave it to the business up and down, and people in wrestling media and other things as well. But that was a fun thing. Make sure you guys check it out over on the PayHip. I'll have the link in the description of the show. We don't charge you guys for anything on the show all year around, pretty much. Something nice for the holidays for you boys. So it is a proud to pay model. So whatever the show is worth to you, go ahead and bless us with a little taste. And you guys can hear the voice sounds a little weak this week, so you know what that means in the state of the world here. I did get COVID-19 for the second time. This or the second time. Last time I got it was in March of 2021. This time was much easier as far as dealing with it, the length of the sickness and everything. I want to say I was diagnosed or I took a test about a week ago, and we did not do our normal Monday show, but I wasn't kind of feeling up to par then, and I actually had plans Tuesday night, so it was gonna fall through either way. But then Tuesday I knew I was positive, and I'm a little bit better now, but it was not as bad as last time. I'm pretty thankful I got vaccinated, and it was just a lot of sleep and a lot of just chills and stuff like that. So try to stay away from this thing. It's hard, but we're as soon as we think we're resuming normal life, it'll just come out of nowhere. So definitely be careful out there. So but yeah, man, we've got some other stuff going on this week. It's the end of the year. I'm good now. I'm pretty much going to make a full recovery, so hopefully there's no long-term effects on this thing here. But James, I mentioned, is in Japan. So I'm definitely looking forward to what he has to say about his experience. I believe his flight will be landing from in about 4 hours from now as I record this. It's 8:35 Eastern right now, so I believe he will be touching down around 12:40 a.m. our time. So if I'm still up, I'll probably reach out to him, make sure he made it okay. But if you want to contact James, make sure you send him tweets at JamesBoyd87 on Twitter, and he'll probably be able to update you in real time about his experience in Japan. But moving on, I've got to go over the 2022 One Nation Radio Awards. Now, putting these awards together, it wasn't as difficult, I would say, in some years past, but we definitely made some tough cuts, and I'm going to go over some of each category. Some categories were pretty bare when you look at the resumes for a lot of these people, and I'm just gonna go ahead and get it started here. So I appreciate Bruce letting me know that the FOH was awesome. Thank you, Bruce. We're getting a lot of rave reviews on the FOH, so make sure you check that out. Zach says that wine is dangerous. Indeed, it was, but it was very good. So it's the wine I was drinking, as I mentioned on FOH. It was called Vintner's Red. I believe it is a San Sebastian brewery, which is a Floridian wine. So if you can get your hands on that, order it. It's pretty dope. It's probably like $12 or something at the most. So what we got here is our first award, which is our Shawn Michaels In-Ring Performer of the Year award, which is your best in-ring performer, strictly stars, the wrestling, what really counts. So our first nominee is Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay's had an incredible year. Of course, everyone has kind of compared this year to his 2019. I guess they're two sides of the same coin. I feel like this is kind of a runaway for this guy. His match catalog is disgusting, filthy. Who can forget him rolling in the Forbidden Door, what he did in the G1 finals with Okada, the matches with Tetsuya Naito that were incredible, the Shingo G1 match, his matches with Jon Moxley, and just what he did in the Dome with Okada, which kind of goes forgotten at this point at the end of the year. So Ospreay is just in trios, rolling up to AEW Dynamite and various singles matches that he had. Up next, we had Jon Moxley. Moxley's had quietly the best in-ring year of his career, I'd say. Just incredible effort, incredible heart going throughout the heart of the year, pretty much throughout the summer, with the championship, without the championship. He felt really big this year and had a lot of great matches. Bryan Danielson is on this list. For the time that he missed, he still was able to put together some incredible matches. Who can forget his match against Hangman Page for the AEW Championship? He had some great matches against Chris Jericho, great match against Jon Moxley, and more great matches against Hangman Page. His series with Sammy Guevara, his series with Daniel Garcia, he was just on point in another way. I know some people tend to get upset about him losing as much as he does, but I don't know when Bryan Danielson was ever someone that had to win every match. That it's just never worked like that. So he's a great candidate here, I'd say. Kazuchika Okada, number 4. Everyone kind of forgets about Okada, but he's just puts together quiet great year after quiet great year at this point. Just Tim Duncan like excellence as far as just being there year in and year out. Zach is booing from the Osmar chocolate square right now from this. I know as I speak. My man Brewhaven, what's going on? So we are solo tonight. Number 5, Tomohiro Ishii. This guy is a machine. reign. He stays, just being the best part of the G1 year to year still. Even I believe he's 47. He came to AEW this year in a couple high quality matches with Eddie Kingston and Chris Jericho. And Ishii just year in, year out, also just always going to be there. Shingo Takagi, number 6. He main evented with Okada in the Dome, which was I would say probably a career match for him, and he was kind of cycled down the card this year, but he was incredible against ELP and Taichi, and he actually turned in making the King Pro Wrestling trophy kind of worth something. And he had a match, I want to say the other day, against Taichi that was on the JTO show that's getting rave reviews, and I need to check that one out for sure. I believe it was a 5-star match from Dave, so definitely Shingo's here also year in, year out. Number 7, Syuri, the red belt champion of Stardom. Just, you talk about a model of consistency and effort, and just being on top of a promotion, looking like a top star, and just delivering against opponent after opponent. It is Syuri, no question. And number 8, close out this category, my girl Saya Kamitani, the white belt champion for Stardom. First time she's kind of been asked to step into a senior type role. She had a great match against Tam Nakano, who could forget that one, and she's been holding that white belt down, turning back the likes of Starlight Kid, and she has really stepped her game this year, and just having some of the most exciting matches in the world, especially if you like high flying. Her style really appeals to me. So go ahead and check everyone out as far as what I think. I think this is Will's category to lose. Number 2 could be anyone. Could be Moxley. It could be we got a lot of Stardom listeners here on One Nation Radio, and Stardom is growing in profile. So people see Syuri, they see Saya Kamitani. Who knows? They might be able to get a little bit more respect as far as the voting. So apologies for the voice, as I mentioned, still getting that back all the way correct. So I'm doing a lot of talking here. Up next, we got the WWE Women's Wrestler of the Year. Now, this category is kind of bare. I would say we have 6 wrestlers in this one, and we're going to start with Bianca Belair. This is a very weak category, but not because of her. She is a very, very strong candidate. Kind of stepped into a John Cena-like role, beating up entire division or beating up entire groups, and having great matches on big stages. When it comes to the big shows, Bianca Belair always delivers in spades, and she's just someone that I look forward to watching her wrestle all the time. Number 2, Becky Lynch quietly has come back better than she's ever been, I feel like, in the ring. And this is after the child, so shouts out to Becky Lynch. Number 3, Roxanne Perez, so the new NXT Women's Champion. She's put together solid matches on her way to winning the championship for Mandy Rose. Number 4, I can't believe it. I just felt this was disgusting. I was like, I can't believe I have to do this. But when you look at this year, this women's division on both shows, actually all 3 shows in WWE, these people are not coming to ball. So yes, Liv Morgan is being nominated by One Nation Radio. I don't know what's happened. I can't believe this, but she's there. So hopefully the voters do the right thing. Number 5, Bayley. I'm not particularly impressed with what Bayley's kind of submitted, but she could be in a different stage of her career at this point. She was a part of some trios matches and some different tag matches. She had a feud with Bianca Belair. She came up, but it has been such a weak year. Even Bayley can get on the list for not what I would call a signature Bayley year. And then the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, Io Sky and Dakota Kai. So Damage Control rounds out, in their own way, but Io Sky and Dakota Kai are their own person here, and that team is, they've won the Women's Tag Team Championships and been, a force on Monday Night Raw. to what degree, I'll let you decide. So up next, we've got the WWE Wrestler of the Year. So this category is a little bit better. When you throw the guys into it, up first, we've got the big dog, Roman Reigns, and he's had just a banner year. As far as being everything WWE wants him to be, as far as, your mileage on the entire storyline and, just how strong they push him, that's up to you. But I think he's done a great job in the role. Number 2, Seth Rollins. Beyond the goofy suits, he's had quietly his best in-ring year possibly since he's come back from some of his major surgeries. Maybe like 2019, I'd say. Maybe 2018. Actually, 2018, I'd say. 2019 and 2021, he just hasn't had that same spark, but something got into him this year. I don't know if it was Cody coming back that really reinvigorated him, but he was having solid matches, even in the Royal Rumble against Roman Reigns, and he really seemed to kind of connect with the fans this year that are watching WWE. And I watch from afar, and I see what he does on the big shows, and his matches with Matt Riddle just prove he's still a good wrestler. And I wouldn't put him in like some best of the world conversation or anything like that, but as far as in WWE, he's as solid as it gets. Number 3, the Usos. They've had the double tag team championships, much of the way Roman Reigns has had both men's championships. The Usos have had matches with the New Day, the Street Profits, and they've just held those belts hostage. So lots of exposure on the show, doing lots of promos, getting lots of screen time. So whoever's monopolizing the screen time in WWE is usually getting rewarded. Number 4, Gunther. Now this is probably my personal pick. This guy has been a revelation, just like we all knew he would be. He's been great. He's WWE proof. His Black Sabre Jr., no matter what environment he's in, Walter's a beast. I got Gunther written here so no one's confused, but it's Walter. His mama named him Walter. I'm gonna call him Walter. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, he's whether it's he's fighting Ricochet, he's having all these great matches with Sheamus, who we'll be talking about in just a second. He's the standard of excellence in WWE. I feel like if he was challenging Roman Reigns, I think I would be a lot more excited about WWE right now, but not meant to be at the moment. Number 5, Sheamus. A renaissance year for the fella. He's just old as hell, and Sheamus has been, I don't know what it was, but he just decided to stop trying to have like the soft WWE style matches that he was having, which I guess were tearing his neck up and everything. And it was like, I'm gonna just start beating the hell out of people and really going for it. And he's just been one of my favorite wrestlers anywhere. I'd love to watch Sheamus in any promotion. He's also another person that I think would translate well anywhere. Number 6, Bianca Belair. As I mentioned, everything before, she's took her game to another level. She's really become a franchise type star, and hopefully she ends up paid like one as well. Braun Breaker in NXT. I go back and forth on Braun Breaker sometimes, but he's had the NXT championship for a lot of the year. He's been asked to deliver like when it comes to a lot of these big matches, and he usually does. Sometimes he looks a little lost from what I'm gathering and seeing some of the stuff they do with him. Like he's clearly on the fast track for them, but I think his year is good enough to warrant a spot being nominated here. Carmelo Hayes is number 8 on this, and the former North American Championship he held, and he is a person that a lot of people that watch NXT are really excited about. I think he on the main roster, I don't know exactly what he would look like simply because of the height, and even as much as open as Triple H is on some things, he still has and with the prospect of Vince possibly coming back, I might add, he has, I don't know if Carmelo has that thing to make him really stand out, because he doesn't have the size, so he needs to, Brewhaven brings a good point up. Johnny Gargano is sitting right there. What are they doing with him? And this is a guy that we all assume Triple H loves. So Carmelo Hayes, a little bit different in the package, but overall kind of still, a smaller indie style wrestler. it's hard for a guy that has, had some of the greatest matches in WWE history to really carve a spot. So I don't know about Carmelo Hayes, but as far as the wrestler of the year, I think this is Roman's to lose. I think everyone's pretty much on the same page. But don't be shocked if the people that vote in these awards, don't be shocked if they reward Gunther, and I hope y'all do. I'm going to reward Gunther. So up next, we've got our New Japan Wrestler of the Year. We got Tomohiro Ishii. We've got Will Ospreay, Tetsuya Naito. I didn't really get a chance to talk about Naito before, but Naito has had one of his best years in a while. He had his match series with Kazuchika Okada. He had a pretty good G1. Of course, at the end, he had a great match with Ospreay, who's part of the World's Tag League. He had another feud match with Ospreay. He's kind of ended up in Muto's match, the 6-man at Wrestle Kingdom, but I can't. I like to poke fun at Tetsuya Naito sometimes, but this is not one of those years. I thought he was great, and coming back from how he ended last year, where he got hurt in the G1, just felt bad for the dude. But he shows up, does his thing. Everyone still goes crazy for him. Win the Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame this year. So Tetsuya Naito is right there. Kazuchika Okada, of course, was the IWGP champion half the year. Dropped it off, and he ended up winning the G1. I think he's a easy pick as ever. Number 5, Jay White. Now Jay White, I think, had a pretty good year in the first half of the year as far as like being out of the country and really anchoring New Japan Strong, rolling into Forbidden Door as the champion after winning it from Okada. But after that, he had a solid G1. But I don't think anyone would actually say his title reign is lighting the world on fire. It just never gets more exciting with Jay White. I've said this since 2018. You don't add Jay White to something and it gets more exciting. It just doesn't. And I think, the sins of like 2018 are kind of coming back to roost for me personally. But he's got his match with Kazuchika Okada coming up, and it's coated in the block of ice right now. So whether that factors into your voting, that's up to you. Shingo Takagi, the king of pro wrestling for much of the year, as I mentioned before. Not gonna rerun it there. We had Zack Sabre Jr. He won the New Japan Cup earlier this year, and he's just came to America, had a great match with Claudio at Forbidden Door, and he is someone that I've grown to like a lot as far as when I first started watching him in like 2017. I just didn't get it. I was like, he's so skinny and non-threatening to me. It was weird. Like, and it's not like he does like Lucha Libre to like really impress me like that. But yeah, so Sam, go ahead and fill Sam in on what happened, everybody in the chat, if y'all could. But yeah, man. Up next, we got the ace Hiroshi Tanahashi. It's been my highlight for Tanahashi was him coming to America and turning the crowd against Jon Moxley in Chicago, and everybody just be like, all right, cool, Hiroshi Tanahashi can be the AEW champion. Why not? I don't care, do it. And he's just so great there. But I would not say it's a signature year for him, but I still love the ace. So newcomer of the year. So this award is the first year in AEW, WWE, New Japan, or Stardom. I originally had Garcia and Wheeler Yuta listed on this, but upon doing research, I discovered that they showed up pretty like in the middle of last year, so they wouldn't have really qualified for this one. So we ended up getting some other folks in here. So number 1, Roosh. So Roosh showed up in AEW. Has been a positive, I would say, and out of Andrade and Roosh showing up, you would think Andrade would have been, the person you didn't really have to worry about, but Roosh has came in, kept his head down, just decided to wrestle hard as fuck, and he's got a lot of respect here. So yeah, Reese, Yuta, the timeline, it does not line up. So Baylor Lasagna says the entire country has a cold, so no worries. Yeah, solo show, Lotero Negro indeed. Yeah, man, and Rouge definitely has killed it, Reese. But yeah, Sam, you're just joining us in here on the live show. So I did pick up COVID last Monday or Tuesday, so we are back in business here, and James is on his way to Japan, so that's why I'm here solo for everybody just joining in the live stream. But yeah, man, so we're good to go though. So number 2, Konosuke Takeshita. This guy showed up in AEW and through defeat got over in a way that was awe-inspiring. I think his matches with Hangman Page, which is my favorite match he had, the Claudio match, the 2 Moxley matches, and they just had everyone begging this guy to win. And I've heard the likes of Joe Lanza call this like the greatest excursion since Muto, or even better than that. Can't wait to see what he does with his new AEW contract and everything like that, and his reactions are going up week by week. So number 3, Roxanne Perez. She was in ROH at the beginning of this year, the ROH Women's Champion, and she ends as the NXT Women's Champion. I don't think there's really much more to say there. Number 4, we got Mirai, someone that was imported from Tokyo Joshi Pro and showed up in Stardom this year. Really impressed the hell out of me with her work against Syuri in the early stages of her run, and then some of her Hoss battle matches that she's had. She's just been someone that I've really enjoyed watching. I think one of my favorite matches of hers was her against Suzu Suzuki on the New Blood show. I believe it was a 15-minute draw. Definitely enjoyed that a lot. Speaking of Suzu Suzuki, number 5, yeah, Suzu Suzuki is a superstar in the making. Write it down right now. She's 20 years old. I can't wait to watch the rest of her career. Number 6, Aussie Open. So this is like their first real year, like kind of in New Japan, and they've been sensational. They decided to just try to have the greatest World Tag League run ever. I watched the final actually to that, where they wrestled Bishamon. That was I love that match. Probably go like 4.5, maybe 4 3/4. But yeah, Brewhaven, the disrespect on Bronson Reed. He's not a new person. Like, he was in NXT for years. But yeah, as far as Aussie Open, yeah, these guys are it. I can't wait till they have a match with the Bucks. Brewhaven asks also, where's the Infinity Gauntlet people? They are where they belong, not on the list. So up next, we have the Dusty Rhodes Promo Cutter of the Year Award. So this one is usually a loaded category, and it's usually an AEW category, and that does not change this year. So number 1, MJF. MJF, I think, has cut some of the best promos of his career this year, and some of the most confusing promos at the same time. But like it or not, like, he basically put like the wrestling world in a death grip throughout the summer and towards the end, and of course his work with CM Punk and Wardlow. He was just showing that he is a generational talent. I did not like the point of that. Like, I thought that LA promo was problematic in a lot of ways, like, and it caused some of the, I think, poisons the well, as I kind of say on the show time to time, because it's just, it doesn't really help anyone. But I really enjoyed the promo where he was talking about being Jewish, and I believe it was before when CM Punk came out, was talking about, is it true, and all this other stuff. And it was like, he really is like just someone you trust in like almost every situation. He's so great. So the number 2, Jon Moxley. When I think of Moxley this year, I think of just him standing in the hallway letting it off for a minute, but he came out the night after All Out and was basically like, talking about this is what this belt stands for, and it was awesome. And I really enjoyed that guy on the mic. CM Punk, Be My Valentine. That's a great pro wrestling moment right there with that guy. And, we know how it ended, but on the way, they counted on him to do a lot promo-wise to not only save a bad build with the Moxley thing. They were like, yo, it's on you in Chicago, figure it out. Now that promo doesn't work anywhere else, but they weren't anywhere else. It was Chicago, so I think we got to evaluate it on that. I think some of the stuff with Hangman, I think, was rather weak as far as like, you know, what he actually had to bring to the table for Hangman. But aside from that, you know, all-time feud with MJF. So Punk definitely week to week, you know, in spite of everything, you know, held it down. Roman Reigns is on here. A lot of people are really, you know, fans of his work with the Bloodline and doing, you know, some of the stuff that's verbal, non-verbal, and sometimes these promos even come during the matches. So number 5, Chris Jericho, basically took the Jericho Appreciation Society, got it over, and he was going toe-to-toe with Eddie Kingston. He was basically putting it Danielson, putting it to Moxley, coming up with all kind of funny stuff, the Wizard, the Ocho, and just Jericho can do a couple things great, or many things great, but talk and wrestle, like those are two of them. He's definitely on the Wrestler of the Year list, but he's definitely got to be on the Talker of the Year list. Eddie Kingston, number 6. He's won this award 2 years in a row. It's going to be interesting to see if he wins it again this year, because I don't think he had the same kind of opportunities this year that he had as last year, but he you know, he has his own charm, his own style, and I think he is just like I can't wait till the day him and MJF are face to face. Yeah, Bruce brings a great point. He's gotten a number 8 over. Yes. Ricky Starks, number 7. He's, you know, been on a very, very hot streak lately, which I thought this category would not be complete without him. His swag is going to another level. He's feeling confident. You can just see it. Like he's just got like week by week, it's like he's breaking out of the shell a little bit more, and you love to see that from guys trying to reach for the stars. So Ricky's probably going to be somebody we see on this list for years to come. Number 8, rounding out this category, of course, Max Caster. Max Caster has wrapped his way to damn near superstardom. You know, there was a lot of criticism from Max and the style, you know, that he was doing the raps in, and I always kind of maintained that he was rapping that way for a reason, to make it real kind of digestible and palatable for the most amount of people that are in the audience, and it has worked spectacularly for him. So you can't really like criticize Caster for not being like, you know, the most lyrical guy, for not being like the most you know, adept as far as like just breaking up the depth of skills needed to call yourself a quote unquote great rapper or anything. But I could tell that he definitely has that in him, and he doing what he's doing is a sign to me that he's able to do more if the day comes. I like the rap battle segment. I think a little more than a lot of other people did. But, you know, week to week, every week, everybody's waiting to see what Max Caster says. So, you know, yeah, he's great. Up next, we've got the AEW Wrestler of the Year. So, Jon Moxley, as I mentioned, this guy came back from, you know, his stint in rehab, and he came back completely transformed body wise, and he was just on a mission. At least like the first like 8 months of the year, he was just like, yo, like he looked in the mirror, he's like, I know I'm in a group with Bryan Danielson, but I'm the best wrestler in the world. Like that's how he approached things. He was all reliable. He was a great employee. He got his wife hired this year. He won the interim championship. He won the real championship. I think he's like the first 3-time champion or something like that. So it was a lot of cool things in addition to re-signing with AEW this year. He really felt like somebody that really defined the promotion, and it was really cool to see him. Like when I think about this year, I don't know if a lot of people will remember this because they don't really talk about it as much, but his promo before the CM Punk match in Chicago, where he says, enjoy this guy now, because after this he's out of here. Like that was the real shoot promo. Like, we ain't seen that guy since. So he told CM Punk he was broke. So he's not really going anywhere. But just match to match, he's just been a joy to watch. And he's kind of defined. I think he's going to win Flair Thez this year. So, but number 2, you know who it is, the Ocho, Chris Jericho. I should have saved him for number 8 on this on purpose, but I told everybody, do not count out Chris Jericho. This guy's also a Wrestler of the Year candidate for Flair Thez. Depends on, Flair and Moxley, I think, Moxley and Jericho are 2 sides of a great coin. These guys were the 2 key position guys this year in AEW to really carry everything, and it just, I couldn't imagine what this place would look like without Jericho this year. I am, just as a Chris Jericho fan since 1996, I laugh whenever he just shuts people up or people just get worked by him. He's just the man, the greatest. And, this is another year that proves it. Number 3, Bryan Danielson, as I mentioned him earlier. I think he's had some character difficulty of late, as far as some of the stuff he's doing in reference to bring up William Regal, and the crowd just either going silent, groaning, or it's kind of, I think, it's a little bit strange, but considering that he dealt with a concussion, he was, coming back and trying to definitely tell stories in a way where it was kind of just different than the American wrestling audience is used to. 2 months off, still super year. Like, people would kill for the level of performance he puts in and out. Number 4, CM Punk. CM Punk has had a lot of great feuds, had a lot of great television, won the championship twice on pay-per-view this year, and he flamed out in spectacular fashion. But before that, like, he was just week to week, solid as fuck, and just someone like the crowd, like, just loved, in mass. There were issues with some of the stuff he did. But he was, I didn't necessarily love all the wrestling that he did. I thought some of it was a little dated and everything, but there are people that, really enjoy what he brought to the table. I don't think he's a Flair Thez candidate or anything like that, but I think he's someone that, I think, him going away really hurt him, and him getting injured really hurt him, but he was a positive on camera, at least. I don't know about, behind the scenes or anything. So up next, number 5, MJF. He's a current AEW World Champion. I think he really got himself to another level this year between the Wardlow and the Punk feuds and the huge summer that was designed for him to go away. And then he's come back in even better physical condition. Some of the stuff, as far as how they had to rewrite the entire angle for him winning the championship with the ring and Regal and everything, has been absolutely weird. And it just, he mentioned it in a promo. It's like, how many things are going to get in his way when it's, quote unquote, supposed to be his time. But he's got a good chance at, just with his popularity. I don't think he can beat Moxley for this award, but I wouldn't be shocked if he's top 3. Number 6, Hangman Page. I think people tend to forget the first 5 months of this year, this guy was incredible. When it come to being in the ring, and also drawing, in kind of his own way. Like, you put him on Rampage, he was doing numbers, he was definitely selling pay-per-views, and, a lot of people tried to take, his numbers and attributed them to someone else, all year, but, that's how they sometimes do these things. But his championship matches were just right out of the school of wrestling that I won, and the big match styles that I like. I loved his match against Lance Archer. I loved what he did against Danielson. He thoroughly executed Adam Cole and beat the shit out of NXT once again, with, you know, that in Orlando, which is just fucking hilarious. I'm gonna just bury you in your old home arena. So shouts out to the Hangman, you know, what him and Moxley are doing and setting up the second half of the year, rolling into 2023. We're probably gonna be talking about him right back here next year. Number 7, FTR. FTR has had a great year as far as in the ring. Do not pay attention to their Twitter if you have any plans on trying to like these gentlemen or anything. But you talk about when they show up, the crowd gets really excited. It was a year that oh yeah, just Dax's Twitter. Never mind. I take that back. Dax started a podcast, and I don't know who's going to take the plunge, but I'm not doing it. Somebody needs to go ahead and listen to it so I don't have to, so we can get the foolishness that's coming out of this. But as far as FTR being on here, Dax did a lot of work in singles, a lot of work in tag divisions. They won championships, you know, for the IWGP Championship, the AAA, and the ROH belts. They had a great feud with the Briscoes, and they had to be on this list. So number 8, Death Triangle. Death Triangle has been you know, you look at these guys and it's just like, yo, they're so great. They are the B side of the coin to the Elite, and you know, whatever you can expect from the Elite, you can almost expect from these guys. And they've been like, you know, they were more than just a solid hand. I'd say they were great in that trios tournament. They were great earlier in the year, whether it's just a tag team with Pentagon and Phoenix, or what Pac has done with the All Atlantic. I think all three of those guys combining definitely ensured their spots on this list. Now, the last cut on this one were the Young Bucks. I thought the Young Bucks had a sensational match list, kind of a quiet year though, as far as everything else. Like, it didn't really feel like a Young Bucks year, even though you look at their catalog, it's disgusting, it's filthy, but I didn't feel you know, that like, me and James didn't feel like we could, you know, it came down to CM Punk and the Young Bucks, ironically, for this. And I looked at it and I was like, you know, the Young Bucks ended up holding the championship for maybe 2 weeks or so. I know CM Punk held the AEW championship even less, but they booked him to win it twice. But some of the Bucks matches were just insane. I was like, well, we'll leave the Bucks off this year. They'll be back next year. This is a goodbye for CM Punk, seemingly. So you got one last chance to vote for CM Punk. So the Bucks will be back next year, I'm pretty sure. But loaded category here, and go a lot of ways. AEW Women's Wrestler of the Year. So this was a turbulent category, to say the least, with Thunder Rosa. But we're going to start with Toni Storm, the woman that basically succeeded her as the champion, and she really had a fun reign every single week, coming out there just being solid as fuck. Not the most exciting individual, I would say, like as far as like her personality or you know, anything like that, but she definitely looks the part, and just brings just a lot of credibility and just being solid as fuck in the ring. We have Thunder Rosa here. She was the champion from March up until just about like almost All Out. She had to end up, you know, going away for a back injury, and they ended up stripping her of the championship. A lot of, you know, she had a difficult year, I think, in a lot of people's eyes, because it was like after she won, people just started like gunning for her heavily. We chronicled her throughout the year on this, but I think she was still solid in the ring when you break it down. She definitely had good matches with Serena Deeb, or Toni Storm, a pair of those, if I'm not mistaken. And she, you know, is someone that, you know, hopefully she comes back and she's able to, you know, get back to the point where she was, because she was really one of the hottest wrestlers in the world when she won that championship from Britt Baker. So up next, Jamie Hayter, the current champion, fresh off one of the best matches in AEW Women's Wrestling history, possibly the best one. And she's like, people have really wanted her to get pushed for a long time. She's been a slow cooker, I'd say, and she really got a chance to heat up. And I think she is someone that is definitely worthy of the championship. She's got a great story with Britt Baker. One day they're going to explode. I would imagine they'll have the championship defense. And then there's a kind of a story going on with them where, Britt is trying to cheat on her behalf, but every time she does this, like, Jamie's really not aware. So something going on there. But up next, Britt Baker. Britt has been someone they've beat like a drum left and right. So, like, she had to put over Thunder Rosa. She had to put over Toni Storm. She hasn't put over Jamie Hayter yet, but she's kind of helping her in her own way. But she was the champion going into March, so she was there, but she's cut a lot of great promos throughout the year, and this list is going to be real hard to keep Britt Baker off of this any year. Number 5, Jade Cargill had the TBS championship, a belt pretty much created for her all year, so she's kind of been in her own world, but I think she started the year a lot stronger than she's ended it, but she's someone that still has to be on this list. Number 6, Hikaru Shida. My man Sam Brown put out a great tweet the other day. It was like, you look up a lot of the best matches in AEW women's history, like those singles matches, you usually see Hikaru Shida somewhere in there against everybody. She's having everybody's best matches, which is, it kind of says something for Shida has her detractors, which I don't want to meet. If I don't want to meet you really, if you're a Hikaru Shida detractor, but I see sometimes just a lack of kind of respect for her, but Shida's fucking great. So you got 6 people to choose from there. Up next, we got our Stardom Wrestler of the Year category. We got the red belt champion, Syuri, as I mentioned. She's great. Just top ace run. One of the best title runs anywhere in the world. Up next, we got Saya Kamatani, the white belt champion. She's really stepped her game up this year. Personal favorite of mine. Got Tam Nakano. Tam's just had a lot of great matches. You look at being part of like the biggest feud of the year with Queen's Quest and Donovan Mondo, and she has had tons of great matches. Some against Natsupoi, some against Giulia, and she's the current tag team champion at the moment. Up next, we had Giulia, the winner of the 5-star Grand Prix. She'll be having a match in a couple days against Syuri for the red belt that we're talking about, but this is really kind of like the year of Giulia. It seems like everything's been just kind of built up for her to really like launch to the next level. And I saw a video of her singing This Christmas or Last Christmas, excuse me, and she was singing it in English, and it really made me feel better. When I watched that, I brought a smile to my face. So that was a great singing performance from Giulia. They might have picked the wrong idol, but all the idols on notice. Giulia is coming for you. Number 5, Starlight Kid. Starlight Kid is last year she turned heel, and this year she really stepped up into, all right, she's not the kid wrestler anymore, despite what her name says. She's one of the best big match wrestlers in the world. Just incredible presence and command of her character and her swag, and it all works from the music. The presentation's on point. This is a future top star. Get on board now. Mayu Iwatani, just another great year for Mayu Iwatani. What else is there to say? Up next, we've got FWC, which is Kaguma and Hazuki. I've really enjoyed their tag team. I love doing the bear pose, and I think they have been they've held up the mid cards of Stardom, their big shows, in a great way, whether in singles or in the tags. And then number 8, Natsupoi. You guys know how I feel about Natsupoi. Natsupoi sold her soul you know, and turn on her team like a sucker. But she's still Wrestler of the Year candidate, so shouts out to Natsupoi. So up next, we've got the Bret Hart Steve Austin Feud of the Year category. So this one, it's a great category. Looking at it, a lot of great feuds that really popped off. We're going to start with the Jericho Appreciation Society versus Blackpool Combat Club. Everything that kind of encompasses Jericho and Kingston, I would probably put underneath this as well. All the combos: Jericho versus Danielson, Jericho versus Moxley, Sammy Guevara versus Bryan Danielson, Daniel Garcia versus Bryan Danielson. All these things are in there. The tag matches, the blood and guts. This has been a faction feud. I only wish they had a unit disbandment match at the end. Like, I think they could have benefited from something like that, but you know, that's a kind of Japanese thing. But I really enjoyed this feud. So up next, Swerve and Our Glory versus The Acclaimed. You talk about two teams having one of the only really long-term tag team, or kind of like within a contained amount of time, tag team feuds with their classic they had at All Out, and they took on, they went and had a match a couple weeks later where they switched the titles, and then they had the third match over at Full Gear. This was a really, really important feud, not only for The Acclaimed, which really got them to, their work with Swerve and Keith Lee really legitimized them in the ring. That kind of like allowed their stars to crest, like the gimmick and the rapping, the scissoring, everything was kind of coming together along with the wrestling. So and Swerve and Our Glory, really did their thing as far as making these guys. And then this feud isn't even over, but it had to go on the list anyway. We have 5 matches in the books of it. It's been incredible. The Elite versus Death Triangle. They started at Full Gear in a match I gave 5 stars, and then they've just rolled out 4.75, 4.5 pretty much every week. It's just these guys do it in their sleep. They're so great. This had to be here. If you're mad that I put it on here before the best of 7 series is complete, I don't care. So let me take a swig of water for the working man. Tough when you're talking and recording by yourself. I feel like Colin Cowherd right now, or Bomani Jones, but even he has a producer. However, yeah, man. But make sure you guys are downloading the FOH draft. Shout out to Sam. Number 4, we had Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins. Cody Rhodes is motivated to have good matches when he went back to WWE. I'm sure he handpicked this one. It was like, all right, just put me and Seth together, put us in our own kind of corner, and just let us go. And they had 3 great pay-per-view matches, culminating in that Hell in a Cell match, which we talked about on the show. I believe I gave it 4.5. I think Dave gave that 5. Just a hell of a gutsy performance from Cody. And Seth was just like a evil deviant to him. But they had a great feud as well. We also got the number 5 listed one here. What do you think about them going back to it? I think that is kind of, personally, if I see a dude get whooped 3 times in a row, I don't need to see any more. Like, I know they did the attack to write him out after, but I feel like he swept this guy already, so that's just me. But WWE, they do different things than Rich Latta's idea of pro wrestling. So, but number 5, which very much is Rich Latta's idea of pro wrestling, Sheamus versus Gunther. Whether it was singles, whether it was the trios match, they had one of the best matches in the year at Clash of the Castle. I loved watching these guys run it. I always kind of imagine what it would be like. This, for me, was like an appetizer to what a Brock versus Gunther match would look like. Always want to see one of those, too. Up next, I've been referencing it throughout the show, but MJF versus CM Punk. This was just, I think there's like a YouTube video that's available that breaks down this entire feud in this is just some of the best TV that there has been as far as cutting promos, answering each other, promos face to face, leading the matches, and the matches were good to a certain degree, even great. I love the entrance from CM Punk at Revolution. The Be My Valentine stuff was great. The kind of inverted promos that MJF were doing were great. Shame we couldn't see the final chapter of this, but what they did kind of made them look like equals. So yeah. After that, we got Cosmic Angels versus Don Del Mondo. It's been a defining feud in Stardom this year. Kind of culminated in a 5-star Grand Prix championship, the race to the red belt between Tam and Giulia. Of course, the big turns with Mai Sakurai, and then we need to also acknowledge the split where when Nasty Boy turned on Giulia. Brewhaven, we do not need that at all. We don't need that at all, sir. But after that, we got Kazuchika Okada versus Tetsuya Naito. These guys had some great matches in the first or second quarter of the year, I want to say. I think they had like a trio of matches in between, like a title defense, or the New Beginning, a title defense, the Cup. They had a match also, so loaded category here as well. Up next, let's have some fun. I'm almost tired of doing the all these serious awards. Let's get to the fun awards, which there are about 4 of those in a row coming up right here. So we've got the Savage Banks Best Dress Ring Gear Award. So first on our list, we got the Young Bucks. So the Bucks just pulled out just new motifs of what they got going on, new logos, and kind of new style stuff, and that I really thought was really dope, especially the stuff that they came out with. I think it was like Supercard of Honor, like the navy blue and black stuff was hard. Their red stuff is hard. Their white stuff was hard. The pink stuff that was hard. They busted out the vintage Young Buck stuff at Forbidden Door. Up next, we got Swerve Strickland. Swerve is rolled in, and he's just like, all right, I'm not wearing kick pads anymore. I'm not wearing traditional wrestling boots. I'm wearing these kind of stylish boots, and the way he wears those in conjunction with the Jeff Hamilton jackets, the great pants that he has with the logos, with the guy with the dreads on them, his gear is like, he spares no expense on making himself look like a star, for sure. So he definitely impresses me week to week with what he puts out. Ricky Starks, of course, he's got I have a problem that sometimes he doesn't wear backs on his shoes, but that's just kind of a rib. Besides that, he's fresh to death. Some of the white gear that he's come out with is cool. I did not like the pants look for him, ironically, but everything else has been real high class, real professional. And up next, Satnam Singh. I know some people are looking at this like, what the hell are they talking about? But y'all tell me, when y'all see Satnam in them suits, Satnam don't be fresh? Whether it's the white suit, the orange suit, the purple suit, the plum suit, the gray suit, the black suit, the chat is going crazy for Platinum Satnam right now. So 1 in a billion. Satnam Singh had to get on this list. So after that, we got Jade Cargill. Man, whether it's any of the cosplay stuff, which is pretty dope, but just her regular, I think she's like I basically like kind of subconsciously chose between her and Britt, and I thought Britt's always had great gear. I like the shiny stuff, and her stuff always looks professional, but like Jade is just like, all right, whatever Britt does, I'm gonna just do a level higher as far as like the gear and everything like that. So number 6, Toni Storm rolled in with some new designs this year. Everything's shiny, everything's sparkly. She's got like the black and red stuff on Smash, and I would love to see her work in like maybe like a primary like white type of gear, which would be really cool. But whether it's like she'll drop pants sometimes she comes in shorts, but yeah. So up next, Utami Hayashishita. My God. All all right, she's got like this Xena Warrior Princess vibe, or she's got like that orange and red stuff that she did. And, you know, I'm not the greatest with colors and my vision and all that, but like her gear is always outstanding all the time. Real top superstar gear right there. And then number 8, Giulia. Giulia ain't met a look that she don't like. Like, she can come out, you know, wearing those hats, kind of like the Undertaker. She has, like, you know, the baggy pants look. She has the braids. She has, like, you know, the long hair. She's got more looks than like, she's like someone that has just a Rolodex. You never know what Giulia's gonna show up looking like. She's kind of someone that you would build a dress code for to make sure Giulia, you know, doesn't stun on you too hard. So love this category here. So the Savage Banks Best Dress Ring Gear Award. Up next, the Put 'em in a Coffin Award. So this is the wrestler who needs to start over or go away. So yeah, man, there was this here is all right. Let's get to it. Number 1, Dom Mysterio. I don't care that he's rolling around calling this white woman mommy. No, it's not happening. Give up. Nothing to offer. Number 2, a guy near and dear to my heart. I hope y'all don't vote for this man, but I felt like he had to be there just because they just don't like him. They don't like him. Sometimes even great matches can't save you, which is like, you know, baffling. But Sammy Guevara, I had to put Sammy here. I thought it would not be fair to the spirit of the award if, you know, someone who the crowd wants to go away, they kind of got to get put on this list here. I don't want Sammy to go away. I love Sammy. Sammy's had some of the greatest matches of this year. Let's just go through them here. Let's talk about the ladder match that he had. Let's talk about his match with Scorpio Sky. Let's talk about the 3-way that he had with Darby and Andrade. The match series with Danielson. His match series with Moxley. This guy's been fucking incredible. And then high class tag work with Jericho. Incredible, falling off the cage of the blood and guts. This guy was a warrior this year. They'll love him again. So, oh well. Everyone won't love you all the time. But number 3, Ronda Rousey. This woman should come out with a she should come out with a $sign pointed on her or tattooed on her head, because we can all kind of see it if you look close enough, because she's checked out. She doesn't care. We want her to go. We hate her. They hate her. Or we hate her. She hates us. It's time to go. Like, I you know, putting out trash, literally, like whether it's against Liv or against Shotzi, against Charlotte, just horrible. Please, I hope Triple H just keeps dumping money on her doorstep, just as a reminder that y'all might have lost Sasha Banks for her. Up next, Karrion Kross. Man, when I heard they were rehiring Karrion Kross, I was like, wow. There's a clip of it, and I was not shocked. I was like, yo, Triple H, of course, is hiring this guy back, because he was always pushed as Triple H, and it ain't working in a similar way. Much of the way Triple H wasn't working at the very beginning. Now, I don't know if Kross is going to flip the switch like Triple H did, but he's going to get every opportunity to fail, which might put him on this list more times in the future. But he came back, was regular degular against Drew McIntyre. Can't say I've seen the guy since. So, number 5, Coach Madison Rayne. I don't know what Coach Madison Rayne is doing behind the scenes. Don't really have room to evaluate that yet. But I know what she's doing on the screen. And when she shows up on the screen, I'm baffled, befuddled. This is not a Major League Pro wrestler in 2022. It's just like, why are we doing this? Like, this is the 2005 ass, the most 2005 ass shit I've seen. 2008, beautiful people, like, leave that shit. Like, that shit, no. Number 6, Bray Wyatt, a man who doesn't even have a match on his resume. This man has showed up and talked these people into thinking something special was happening. And Bray Wyatt may be a better worker than I give him credit for, because he keeps talking people into thinking greatness is happening. And it never does. One Nation Radio has been consistently correct about Bray Wyatt since 2013. This JJ Abrams mystery box bullshit has no limits. They will take this and create anything they have to steal your money, or is to steal these people money. Yes, I can't believe I have Sammy listed next to some of these guys. Yes, same as Noah. But yo, this Bray Wyatt shit, horrible, bro. Like, I don't know if it's better that they're keeping him out the ring or not, but you know, awful. Go away. Number 7, Carl Anderson. What's there to explain? Like, you want wrestlers to, like, when you think about wrestlers, right, that you want to cheer for, you want them to have heart about what they do. You kind of want them to care, or to feel like they care through their performances. You want them to be someone that you can kind of believe in. Nah, that ain't none of that is Carl Anderson. He's coming out there and you say, I don't care if you're Hiroshi Tanahashi. We're about to have this 1.75 star match, and I'm about to cash this good check, brother, and keep working this business into giving me money. All-time hustler, Carl Anderson is. Number 8, Austin Theory. Now, there are people that will go to bat for this guy, I think pretty heavy, that are big-time WWE fans, but you just look at this guy, and I think the crowd gets a particular joy in rejecting him when he's juxtapositioned as a representation of Vince McMahon and his ideas of pro wrestling. And they're going to try to rework that. Triple H has been doing rehab on the guy, but in order to come back, you got to go away. So that's our category there. Up next, Signature Award. You already know what it is. In spirit of a guy, we had to break the rules on this. Like, the Jeff Jarrett Finesser of the Year award. This is the wrestler who took advantage of their situations to get the most out of them, worked their way into big spots, who was the swiftest business person. And Jarrett already had we have a rule. We don't let people that have the award named after them usually into the ballot this year. But Jeff Jarrett, first guy on the list, we had to break the rule. He had to be nominated this year. So Jeff Jarrett appeared in like 5 promotions this year: GCW, WWE, NWA, AAA, AEW, getting money from everywhere. The podcast, the SummerSlam weekend, where he's doing the referee job, and then he headlines against Ric Flair in his last match, then shows up in AEW. God tier level hustling and finessing and everything like that. Like, I can't believe like this man Double J does it again. I always felt like he was going to end up running WWE one day. This man works himself into having like an office job in AEW. It's like, once the Triple H regime comes in, you think he's gone. He's always right around the corner, ready to strike, and with a guitar, holding people, hitting them in the head. Like, and I think my favorite part of Jeff Jarrett's year was that he beat all them suckers and jabronis and never will be's in GCW and never gave them wins back. Like a real worker. Shout out to Double J. And then number 2, KG Muto / the Great Muta. This is really a 2-person category here. This is Jarrett versus Muto. Who you got? Like, and this, you talk about somebody being a finesser. This guy Muto got that Wrestle Kingdom Night 3 main event, got to drop all them championships and not do jobs. Man showed up in AEW. This man got AEW sending people to him for his last match. He's got WWE working with him, sending him Shinsuke Nakamura. He's going into New Japan and wrestling. He's just part of this huge like political faction in Noah with the Booker, and just if there's a payday to get, Muto can get it. I don't know if Keiji Muto and Jeff Jarrett have ever wrestled a match against each other, but like, I need to find that footage and watch it. If it exists, please let me know. Yes, I feel like, yes, he is a full threat to be in the Royal Rumble next year. Yes, we got to talk about that Kaito Kiyomiya thing, bro. When he tapped out to Kaito Kiyomiya, he didn't even tap out. He just kind of looked at the ref and pointed or something like that. This guy immediately rolls out the ring. This man looked like he had just finished sex. He didn't look like he was finishing any kind of struggle or anything. Kaito Kiyomiya has to like run and beg him for like the endorsement. He just like shook his hand and just kept it moving. Like, it was just, bro, like, this guy Muto is like, and we don't even know if he's going to retire. He might be on this list again next year. Like, he's marketed all this under his last run. And the funniest shit is, it's like, this is the Great Muta's last match in New Japan. This is the Great Muta's last match in this company. This is Keiji Muto's last match in this arena, and all these like weird qualifiers that they have. It's funny, Muto's qualifiers kind of sound like those randomized ESPN stats. They'd be like, yeah, you know, this is the first time in 75 years that a pitcher on Tuesdays, you know, pitched 155 miles an hour or excuse me, like 98 miles an hour and giving up a single to a right fielder or something like that. Like, that's what it sounds like all Muto's doing with all these retirements and finesse jobs. He's still pulling more money out of Noah, his final quote unquote show in February, but we know how Muto gets down. This could keep going. So this is the Muto and Jarrett sprint. I'm gonna mention everybody else, but it's fucking Muto and fucking Jarrett. One of those two just have worked this business, finessed, conned, all that shit. Can't not hustle. Number 3, Carl Anderson. You talk about a younger generation of finessing. It's Carl Anderson. All the friends in the best places, friends in every company to keep getting them checks. Got WWE to rehire them. Yeah, I'm holding a New Japan belt. Don't need to drop it. Why would I do that? Why don't we just work something out to where I go back for Wrestle Kingdom and a couple more times and not try, so I can stay nice and healthy for these WWE house shows. So after that, we got Bray Wyatt. He's done all this, commanded all this money. They played that White Rabbit song for months and months, and it's led to no wrestling. I admire the hustle. And all he has to do is just put out some bullshit or QR codes, and just people just go nuts. Like, maybe everybody else is doing it wrong. Maybe Bray Wyatt is doing it correct. Number 5, Mandy Rose. Mandy Rose was the champion of a show on national television for all year and used that platform to launch a fan site where she's going to become a millionaire off of that fan site inside the same year. What else needs to be said? They fired her and they said, it's either us or the fan site. And she said, fuck you. You know why? Because the job was already done. The platform already existed, and all they were going to do was give her more to spin, the coverage into, whatever she's, putting on her content site. And it's very telling. All those years that she's worked for WWE, this is what got her $500,000. This is what got her $1 million. So it makes you ask, what were they not paying her in WWE? Number 6, Brock Lesnar. If he's gone, I'm gone. Please back up the brink truck to bring me back. Oh, you did? Thank you. Number 7, Triple H. Somebody had to benefit from Vince going down. Why not the game? Triple H has got to... He literally got the easiest job that has ever been given in pro wrestling. We're not talking about someone investing in your company, and then you got to run it from the scratch. You don't have to do that. I used to think Triple H had the easiest job in NXT before this, where you have no responsibility to make money and you just sign the next hottest guy off the street. I thought that was pretty easy, right? But you get the biggest, most successful wrestling company of all time that has had 40 years of leadership from the same person who crashed and burned for a decade at a time. And what he did to walk in there was, I just step into this job and everyone just, if I mention the word wrestling, like the bar is so low for what he did. And with Vince going down and the shady aspects of that, it could be Triple H that set him up. If we ever find out that's the case, I think that makes him a great candidate for finessing his way into the chair in WWE after being gone. Number 8, Rossi Ogawa. Rossi Ogawa is definitely a Finesser of the Year candidate if we ever find out, or we kind of did find out, that he convinced Bushiroad to foot the bill for Sasha Banks to not use the Stardom budget and then end up getting dates on her for that. He basically balked at Sasha and was like, nah, that price is way too high, don't really work for us. But then Kadani hits him up like, yeah, Rossi, we got this. So, especially if we see what it leads to possibly with Mercedes, yes, it's definitely finessing because he didn't have to use his budget to do it like Bushiroad did. So, that's our Finesser of the Year award category. Jarrett versus Muto, be there. So after that, we've got the Die Rocky Die, Who Booked This Shit Failure of the Year award. Number 1, Carl Anderson's Never Openweight Championship run. Number 2, ROH in AEW. Number 3, Austin Theory's Money in the Bank. Number 4, Sammy Guevara's Scorpio Sky's TNT feud. Triple H rehires. Number 6, Ronda Rousey's return to professional wrestling and subsequent run. Number 7, Saraya versus Britt Baker feud. And number 8, Liv Morgan's SmackDown Championship reign. My God, where do I begin? There's trash on top of trash on top of trash in this category. That Liv Morgan title reign might be the worst championship reign I've ever seen. That Never Openweight Championship reign that Carl Anderson has might be the worst championship reign I've ever seen. That Saraya versus Britt Baker feud, if you didn't like either one of them, you liked them less after the feud. A feud that got no one over. Ronda Rousey subsequently just being ass terrible and then possibly indirectly costing them Sasha Banks. Not much more to say there. There's a lot of bad booking going here. That those WWE rehires from Triple H. Good God. Where to begin? Has anybody on that thing made an impact at all yet? Like Braun Strowman, like what's he doing now? Emma, she's back. Should they have her doing the dance again? Who knows? But after that, the ROH and AEW stuff, it just like it was a lot of brand equity being wasted on ROH, and that was like a big talking point for a long time. Like, do we need this ROH stuff like in AEW? And a lot of people would say, hey, it's just 3 letters. Yes, it is 3 letters, but it's not the 3 letters everyone came for, no matter how you slice it. So, in the Scorpio Sky, Sammy Guevara TNT feud, that was just like bad for both of those guys. It was just, a lot. Seamus Nova brings up, how many times do we have to see Wardlow get his ass jumped by the embassy? Exactly. And then that Austin Theory Money in the Bank run, bro. He won it like a coward. He lost it like a dumbass, and then in between it, every time he tried to do it, he looked like a bitch. So I don't know if there's been anybody that Money in the Bank briefcase has been more of a deterrent to. So that's that category. Gimmick of the Year, the best vehicle to get over. We've got Chris Jericho being a sports entertainer, MJF, disgruntled employee, The Acclaimed, scissoring, Unagi Sayaka, the Assessor, Sami Zayn being the honorary Uce. Number 6, Jake Hager, he likes his hat. Number 7, Ren Narita being Katsuyori Shibata. And Seth Rollins just wearing bad suits. So, I don't know who's going to win this. I think Jericho might have this in the bag. There's also Sami Zayn with Honorary Uce stuff. Off the board pick kind of would be the Assessor from Unagi Sayaka, is just hilarious. We've got some fashion based stuff between Hager and Rollins. Got some ironic shit with, yes, Narita just being a Shibata clone, but MJF being a disgruntled employee. I don't think anybody's really categorized him as that. I'm interested to see how people take to that labeling. Ooh. It is tough to talk this much, but WWE Match of the Year, we got Seth Rollins versus Cody Rhodes, Hell in a Cell. Number 2, Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch, WrestleMania 38. Number 3, Gunther versus Sheamus at Clash at the Castle. Number 4, Logan Paul versus Ricochet at Crown Jewel. Number 5, Ricochet versus Gunther from last week on SmackDown. And number 6, the good old-fashioned Donnybrook between Imperium and the Brawling Brutes. I think WWE had a solid year on pay-per-view, and we got 6 really good matches to pick from here. So it will all depend on what you value. Do you like a big slugfest? Do you like a slugfest with many people? Do you like big versus small? Do you like speed versus size? Do you like kind of like just like a psychological kind of war with Cody and Seth? So Gunther is in here 3 times, so you guys can tell kind of what my tastes are like. But yeah, number 8, or excuse me, our next category is the AEW Match of the Year. We got 8 matches. We got Will Ospreay versus Orange Cassidy from Forbidden Door, one of the most electric matches all year. We got FTR versus the Young Bucks, a match that did happen despite the best efforts of FTR and on. A match that FTR won clean in the middle on national television. Yeah, that one. We got the Young Bucks versus Lucha Bros from Rampage in Ontario, California on Rampage in June. Incredible match. Number 4, Hangman Page versus Bryan Danielson Part 2. First TBS Dynamite for the AEW Championship. We got Swerve in Our Glory versus the Acclaim 1 from All Out. We got the Elite versus United Empire in the Trios Tournament, which where Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay came face to face for the first time. Number 7, the week before that, was Death Triangle versus United Empire, a match arguably people liked more than the last one, last match I named. So United Empire sneaking on here twice with Will Ospreay in 3 different matches. This guy's incredible. And then the Elite versus Death Triangle 1 from All Out, a match, or excuse me, from Full Gear. So there's a lot of, like, I left the Young Bucks off of the Wrestler of the Year list, but let's see. FTR versus Young Bucks versus Lucha Bros, Elite versus United Empire, Elite versus Death Triangle. The Young Bucks are well represented where it counts. So, yeah, man, this is a loaded category. You can pick from a lot of stuff. That Ospreay and Cassidy match was just sensational at the time. Page versus Danielson. When you talk about a world title match and where Hangman was in that reign and what he needed that match to be, that was just a very special match. I feel like everybody was rooting for Hangman Page by that point to win. Swerve in Our Glory and the Acclaimed. This was just one of the first a match without, the first time we saw some teams really grab. I won't say that. We've seen great matches from Best Friends and Proud and Powerful and stuff like that, but on a pay-per-view for the championships, outside of the Young Bucks Lucha Bros division, we haven't really seen it like that. And these guys, they just, I don't know what happened, but it was like a switch was flipped in the middle of that match once Bowens got the once they got the knee going on. It was just the atmosphere changed, and this was a Swerve masterpiece in this match. Moxley and Wheeler Yuta was an honorable mention. So was John Moxley versus Chris Jericho. Both of those matches sensational in their own way, but we had to cut down to 8. And this is a competitive category here. So, look at that AEW match guide on Cage Match for this year. It is tough. And this kind of really these matches kind of spoke to, what our idea of what the best of AEW was, but there might be somebody that has a whole different list. So this is just, kind of what we thought. Up next, we got the Stardom match of the year. Number 1, Mayu Iwatani versus Giulia. 2, Starlight Kid versus Azumi, the high-speed match from February. Tam Nakano versus Natsupoi in the cage match. Tam Nakano versus Giulia in the Grand Prix final. Syuri versus Utami, the red belt match in October. Mayu Iwatani versus Kairi, the IWGP Women's title finals. Number 7, Sai Kamitani versus Tam Nakano. And something that has never been done on One Nation Radio, which, I feel like if we're going to ever do this for anybody, we're putting a match on here that hasn't even happened yet. Syuri versus Giulia from Stardom, Queendom, Dream Queendom, that is happening 3 days from now. We left it a spot there. We have a match alternate ready to go if it does not deliver to that level. But initially, we're showing that respect to Syuri versus Giulia in that spot. And I hope you guys don't think that's goofy. If not, we'll see in 3 days. We'll see who's right in 3 days. So, pay-per-view of the year. We have 7 in this category, so this is a little weird here, but we got number 1, AEW and New Japan's Forbidden Door. 2, WWE Clash at the Castle. 3, AEW Revolution. 4, AEW Full Gear. 5, the Stardom Grand Prix Final. 6, WrestleMania 38's Day 1. And number 7, Historic Crossover. So, looking at it up and down, this is just a stacked field, big shows in big stadiums or very excited stadiums. Hot crowds rule the day on this one, except Historic Crossover, which is, they had a clap crowd environment, but, people were into it. My personal picks will probably be, I was in person at Revolution. I thought that was a sensational show. I think Forbidden Door kind of has the has the pole position here, but don't sleep on Clash at the Castle. I thought that was a really solid show from WWE. Just hell of an environment. The entrance tunnels just kind of looking like boxing, and just seeing how you want a big show to look in WWE. That was it. Number 7, or up next, the moment of the year. Ricky Starks does his promo on MJF. Number 2, MJF's work shoot promo in LA. Number 3, Jon Moxley squashes CM Punk for the AEW title. Number 4, the Elite return at AEW Full Gear. Number 5, Stone Cold unretires on the fly in the main event of WrestleMania. 6, a tractor at SummerSlam. Number 7, Cody shows his torn pec before Hell in a Cell. Number 8, Natsupoi joins Cosmic Angels. Lot of stuff on here. You got promos, you've got shock stuff, you've got returns, you've got just wild events as far as with the tractor, you got betrayals, you've got just pure nastiness with that torn pectoral muscle from Cody. That could have easily been Cody's return at WrestleMania. You could do that too, but I thought this was just more of a visceral kind of pro wrestling thing. If I'm looking at it, I'm looking at Mox squashing CM Punk for the AEW title. Personally, I remember thinking that was just one of the most electric things I had ever seen in the history that I've ever watched as a fan. So a lot of different ways that one could go. Up next, we got the creative success of the year. That one right there is going to be between Jazz versus the BCC. Number 2, the Bloodline storyline. 3, the Acclaim's tag team title run. 4, the best of 7 trios feud. 5, the trios title tournament. And 6, Gunther is the IC champion. These have all been great things on this list. For even we let the Bloodline storyline kind of have it on FOH. those are personal things we find wrong with the storyline. But I think for a lot of people that watch WWE, I think you got to quote unquote acknowledge how that thing is making them feel. So between Jazz and the BCC, that has just been a masterclass in long form storytelling, just up and down each side. Everybody's worked with each other really great. The Acclaim's tag team title run, from just rapping her way to it, going from feuding with the Ass Boys and really getting over heavy in that, to the Swerve in Our Glory feud, and even in the outset of that, they've just felt like real stars that AEW have needed, and it's a really cool thing to see where those guys started and where they're at now. The best of 7 has been incredible. It spawned all the NBA memes, which I was proud to be a part of, and it ended up leading to Tony Khan paying for the NBA on NBC Music, which was feather, I'd say, in my cap, but and many others. But the best of 7 has been incredible so far. Can't wait to see the Falls Count Anywhere match this week, as well as the Escalera de la Muerte, which will be the ladder match in LA, AEW. And then the Trios title tournament. If you look at the tournaments in AEW history, there's a great argument that this is the best one they've ever done. You got United Empire coming in for a couple matches. You got Death Triangle in there. You got the Elite in there. You got Dark Order rolling in with Hangman, and him subbing in at the end. Like, that tournament was sensational. And then number 6, Gunther is the IC champion. That we talk about people. We always hear, hey, when's someone going to bring the IC championship back? When are they going to make that feel important? Man, Gunther feels so much bigger than the Intercontinental Championship. It's not funny, but that IC Championship is with him in all these great performances. I was so happy when that match happened against Sheamus in the UK, essentially Scotland, that we could finally let Bret Hart versus the British Bulldog kind of go, as far as an Intercontinental Championship match that happens way the fuck over there, that has a lot of critical acclaim. It's it's time for the new one to kind of get that love, and Gunther has just been what more do you want from this guy in WWE? I think he's the best wrestler there. So and up next, the final award, the IWC Award, the biggest internet controversy. I hate having this award named the IWC Award. It's such a vestige of 10 years ago, which is ironically when we started One Nation Radio, but the award, the name is the name. All right, y'all know what it is. Number 1, Vince McMahon resigns in disgrace. Number 2, CM Punk versus The Elite. 3, Cody leaves AEW. 4, Sasha and Naomi walk out of WWE. 5, FTR crying while holding 3 championships. 6, MJF. 7, Mandy Rose fired for fan site. Number 8, William Regal's AEW departure. These are all things that drove a lot of clicks, a lot of conversation, and a lot of people that just didn't know how to respond to a lot of it, so they acted out of character in unbecoming ways. I think this is Vince McMahon's award to lose. Vince McMahon resigned in disgrace, the biggest news of the year for sure. There are going to be people that vote for CM Punk versus The Elite in this. Cody left AEW. We did so much Cody coverage up to him leaving AEW. It's amazing that it worked out in a way almost to where we said it did. He needed to be back in WWE, and what happened? He kind of was bigger than ever and having better performances than ever, and could easily just slot into doing what he was kind of meant to do, and it didn't have to hold up AEW anymore. Sasha and Naomi walking out of WWE, the subsequent smear job that they did with that whole thing, I don't think people should really forget that. And it's it's something that people will sweep under the rug. They'll not mention it. It's disgusting how they treated them on the way out. FTR doing all the crying while holding 3 championships. Of course, that birthed, as James mentioned, the FTR and on. these people have convinced fans that matches that happened on national television didn't happen. It was a lot, of Dax acting out on Twitter, campaigning for Wrestler of the Year while listing a bunch of 3.5 star matches. It was just like, yo, man, you got to step back, bro. MJF, everything regarding him, people being excited that he may be trying to stick it to AEW. A lot of people, during over the summer is just couldn't stop talking about the guy. And he's just been walking controversy ever since the day before Double or Nothing. He's leaned heavy in this shoot thing, and we mentioned when it comes to AEW, people will believe anything about AEW if it's said in a work shoot promo. They're getting worked, but they're hoping it's a shoot. That's what is going on here. So it's a lot with MJF. He goes back and forth. I love him as a performer. I think he's just somebody that for how old he is has skills way beyond his years. One of the brightest stars in pro wrestling. But there's a lot of stuff that goes along with trying to do that Pillman shit, and a lot of it ain't good. So Mandy Rose, saw that the last couple of weeks, and the effect that's had. That Regal stuff from AEW is nasty. There's a tampering aspect to it. There's how they had to rebook all this shit on the fly. There's the distaste kind of for the NXT and stuff that came into AEW throughout the year, and people being happy he was gone. People were cheering that he got what's coming to him. People that that liked Regal. There's a lot of stuff with that, and I thought the whole storyline at the end was kind of designed to make him look smart, but it's just my opinion. And Cody leaving AEW, that was huge. He's founding father of the promotion and left, and it was almost like once he got rolled back into WWE, for a lot of us, he didn't really exist outside of a pay-per-view match here and there. And he came back to WWE and essentially just imported everything he was already doing, but dropped, he left kind of the worst parts of the act out. Brandy was not there. Arn Anderson was not there as the babyface manager. The American flag, the racism promos were not there. This was more of a focused Cody thing. But be aware, if Cody gets into a place we've seen Cody take this act on the road before, essentially, and it ends up kind of the same. I think he's, if he's not the person to beat Roman Reigns, and he's got to figure out what the pivot is, he's got to not be afraid to turn, or he's got to dig in deeper. And I think he's got a less volatile crowd, because the AEW crowd wanted a lot of things that Cody wasn't giving them. And I think he made the right decision for himself and his family and his career, and I think best of luck to him. So but yeah, those are all the awards this year. Worked hard on those. Shouts out to James. We were on the phone, I think it was Saturday night, just putting all this together for you guys. These awards will be out shortly. All I have to do is click the button to make it go live. So by the time you hear this show, you guys will have those, the ability to vote, and I'll have the link inside of the show sheet. But after that, we're going to switch gears and jump over to AEW Dynamite from this past Wednesday. I believe they were in San Antonio, Texas. It was match 5 between the Elite and Death Triangle. Two real great things on this show. The Elite and Death Triangle match, I would probably give that one 4.5 stars, as well as the Jamie Hayter and Hikaru Shida match. Just fucking sensational between those ladies. I'd also probably give that 4.5 stars. we got a setup of a feud between Ricky Starks and Chris Jericho. Ricky Starks really coming into his own on the microphone. Told Chris Jericho he used to be built like an air fryer, and really, like, you know, and he did it in a smart way, because he was like, yo, you used to look like that, and now you come out here, you know, looking good and all this stuff. So I kind of like how he did that. He ended up putting the man over in the end after clowning him. And they set that up. There's a big brawl that breaks out. Actually, Andretti gets back involved, kind of following up on that thing with last week. And, you know, as I kind of predicted off air in different forms, I figured Starks would be with Jericho next. This is going to give Starks a lot of opportunity to be on the mic, to be on the show, and to you know, really get to it in the ring. And he's gonna, if it fits the profile of a lot of other Jericho feuds, he's gonna get in there with Sammy. He's gonna get in there with Daniel Garcia. He's probably gonna get in there with 2.0 at some point to do something, or he's gonna have some type of juxtaposition with them and Hager. The Jazz is a great group to play off of, and Starks, you know, coming from the world title match, needed somewhere strong to end up, and Jericho's as good as pick as any. He knows the job, or he knows what's at stake here, and this is going to help Ricky a great deal. And they set up Jericho and Starks on January 4th. So after that, we got the Elite taking on the Death Triangle. Weapons everywhere. They did a hell of a match here. You know, flipping out of power bombs, lots of super kicks. The Elite doing the triple dives. They had some Christmas hijinks with Nakazawa. Cutler dressed as an elf. Alex Abrahante is getting in the match. We had the t-shirt, Kenny and t-shirt Bucks. They had new gear that they were kind of marketing and putting out there, and ready for war in the Falls Count Anywhere match. And the crowd was just going nuts for this. You know, if you're one of these, you see some of these people be like, yo, it's the same match they're having over and over again. They're not watching the show. They have a hatred for the Elite and Death Triangle, but these guys are doing all different shit every time. The arenas are going fucking nuts for this still. So if you're burned out on it personally, the paying audience disagrees with you. So does Rich Latta. So this all ended up leading to you know, usage of the hammer. Kenny ended up kicking out of the hammer shot from Phoenix, which kind of like shook Phoenix a little bit. This ended up with a Meltzer driver, and you know, they got the win on that. It was pretty cool to see a Meltzer driver. I hadn't seen one of those in a long time. The Elite cut this to 3-2 as they get into the Falls Count Anywhere match. That's going to be in Denver, Colorado. You'd assume the Elite is going to tie that up 3-3, and then we roll into Game 7. Can't wait to see that. This has been fucking hilarious, as I mentioned, or not hilarious. This has been sensational. 4.5 stars for me on this. They, after the match, Pac and Penta basically attacked the Elite. They busted Nick open with the hammer. Phoenix had to pull Pac and Penta off, and you know, we're gonna see Game 6. You know, who's gonna step up here. So we had some footage of last week, MJF with Danielson. They had MJF cut a promo, called him a gutless prick, robbed MJF his moment, blah blah blah. Then we got Action Andretti. Jericho ends up throwing a fireball in his face. That was pretty cool because he brings back the Wizard. I like the Wizard. Then we got a weird interview with Bryan Danielson and Renee Paquette. Renee asked where the Blackpool Combat Club stands following MJF's attack on Regal and Regal's actions prior to that. Danielson said he doesn't expect the BCC to understand. He said despite being trained by Rudy Boy Gonzalez and Shawn Michaels, they were in San Antonio, so name dropping those guys got good reactions. And then the trainer who made him who he was today, the man who made him who he was today, was William Regal, which the crowd gave a lukewarm reception to the mention of Regal. It's just like, we don't want to hear about Regal anymore. We don't want to hear Bryan Danielson riding William Regal's meat. I'd rather just see you take the fight to MJF at this point, and they've done enough, like, I think, for as far as like putting Regal into the storyline. I don't think it's something that adds to it anymore. It doesn't make us really like Danielson anymore. I feel like he's kind of in a weird place. Like, I don't need him to be drawing boos against MJF. They'll figure it out because he's Bryan Danielson, but it is the real stuff got to go at this point. Excuse me. So the Danielson said he cried when Regal was in the hospital. There's consequences to the actions. We got Ethan Page and Stokely Hathaway cutting him off. We ended up getting they called Page called Danielson a vegetable man, and we basically talked about his performances in the tournament and the Battle Royal. He basically Danielson did some comedy on Stokely's bald head, and then Stokely Hathaway hit him with that Wait and Exhale, you raggedy bitch line. I actually watched Wait and Exhale over the weekend. Pretty funny. And Taz laughed, and everybody immediately clipped that for their social media and group chat usage. They set up a match between Page and Danielson for next week. So after that, they promoted Casino Trios Royale. We are not going to cover Rampage this week. I fell asleep watching it because, as I mentioned, I had COVID. So from there, we got Hook Squash. It was cool. Then we got Jon Moxley and Darius Martin. Before that, they showed Stokely backstage. They had Big Bill and Lee Moriarty. They were beating down Jungle Boy, and Big Bill chokeslammed Jack Perry into a dumpster. I do not know why you would ever record Jack Perry getting thrown into a trash can on video. I would never do that. That is just like malpractice that exists anywhere on film to have to be used or anything. So he's got to come back hard from that. Jon Moxley fought Darius Martin. Just was not excited up for this match. And we got to remember, Dante's coming back from a lot of time off, car accident and all that. But Darius came back. Dante shined in a lot of these positions, just wowing the audience. This one was not the match that I think Darius needed to have. I would keep investing in the young man, but this match was just not the one. From there, we got the Gun Club, we got a Book of Hobbs chapter. These things are getting goofier and goofier, I think, at this point. He said when he was 3 years old, he saw his uncle overdose on the floor. As a child, he was beaten, robbed, and he's been stabbed and shot. I'm like, bro, this guy, I just feel like, what's he gonna say next? What terrible thing else has happened to Hobbs? So I'm ready for him to get back in the ring at this point. So yeah, man, 3 years old, he saw his uncle overdose on the floor. I don't know what 3-year-old is comprehending that. I don't know. I don't want to say he's taking liberties or anything, but what will he say next? What you let me know on Twitter. How bad did it get for Powerhouse Hobbs? So, and none of this is designed to make us like him. So this is just still keep him as a heel. It looks like, I don't know, man. And it's funny, you see in some of these vignettes, he's walking around the neighborhood. You got brothers shooting dice and all that. They see Hobbs, and it feels like they're picking up the dice. Everybody's, clutching their booty cheeks a little bit, and they're ready to hit a run for it. That's Hobbs there. So, if this was I don't know. It's just to make him a big, scary black man, I guess. That's it. I don't think they're trying to make you believe in Hobbs necessarily. They're not trying to make you feel for the stuff he went through. It's nah, bro. All this shit turned me literally. This shit fucked me up, and I'm just hurt other people now. So I don't know, man. After that, we got the Gun Club fighting FTR here. So FTR got to be on television this week, and they lost to the Guns. Strange thing with this feud, I was watching something from 1997 on Monday Night Raw. This is so ironic. This feud is exactly like the New Age Outlaws versus the Road Warriors feud. It was this young tag team, brash, kind of in over their heads. Nobody really believes them credibility wise, versus this older veteran tag team, been around the world, well-traveled champions, and who they're calling old and they're going to get rid of and all this stuff. It is directly the same, kind of things there. But this is fucking hilarious for so many reasons. in San Antonio, Texas. Austin Gunn was dressed like Bret the Hitman Hart and Shawn Michaels. He was doing a sharpshooter on Dax Harwood or Cash Wheeler, one of those guys, against FTR. Like, there was just multi-levels of trolling here from the Guns, which I enjoyed. There was a road to for this that I thought the Guns were really excellent in. I thought they kind of outshined FTR verbally in that exchange. But FTR, like, they slipped on a banana peel on this one. Gun Club rolled them up, and basically, it wasn't a clean win or anything, but I thought it was a good win for the Guns, and they're slowly kind of winning me over a little bit. I know people that like the Guns a lot more than me. I know people that like them a lot less than me. So I'm just kind of watching week to week and enjoying their development. So, but as far as, this could be a symbol of things to come for FTR. Last time they lost a match on Dynamite, they dropped a belt immediately. So, they do have a match against Dragon Lee and Dralistico in 2 days in AAA. For those belts. I think they're probably coming off of those, so we'll see. After that, we got Rick Ross and Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee, and this segment was so many things. I thought this was well, first let's talk about, this is the debut of the Mogul Affiliates group. We got Keith Lee and Rick Ross on the ring. Rick Ross basically called Keith Lee a big motherfucker, like, just randomly. Didn't get bleeped by the censors or anything. And this, from there, immediately kind of just went off the rails as far as the execution of the segment. It felt like there were time cues that were kind of messed up, and it felt like everyone was kind of just like waiting for the next thing to happen, and the camera was swinging in ways where it was like, okay, Swerve's finally coming out. He's cutting a promo, takes shots at Lee. It talks about his health, talks about him not, basically being reliable and dependable. And they were shooting it in a way to where you knew someone was going to attack Keith. I thought it was going to be Ross that attacked him, but it wasn't. It turned out to be Parker Boudreaux, who's been posting the same logo that Swerve's been posting on social media. Parker's physicality did not look good with Keith Lee. Every time he would punch Keith, he would go back into like some SmackDown, here comes the pain, like taunt or something like that. I think he's got to really work on that physicality, because if there's, you look at, like, obviously Swerve's super experienced, incredible wrestler on his own. The people that are going to be with him, if he looks like he's going to be like, kind of a bodyguard of types or henchman in this group or something, your physicality has to be on point. If that's not on point, I think it all falls apart. And this segment did not go over well with those attacks. Because of those attacks, I think people were thrown off that it was Parker, because the Trustbusters thing has not been explained yet. And then another gentleman jumps out after Rick Ross is just on the mic, kind of like making fun of Keith Lee, which is weird. I didn't know if Ross had an aversion to like looking weak in the ring. Maybe, like, I thought this could have worked better if Ross kind of almost was in trouble from Keith. If he said something Keith didn't like, Keith kind of like backed him down, and then someone jumped on him like that. But I think the fact that Swerve was on the mic, they didn't really have a chance to set all that up. So they're doing a lot of things, trying to get Ross out of the shot. They're trying to get Parker in the shot. They're cutting the Swerve back and forth. There's a lot going on production wise on this that I think threw a lot of this stuff off. But there's another gentleman, when Swerve eventually fights off Parker, comes out, forget his name at the moment, but he jumps out, lots of tattoos, former baseball player, has been training with Jay Lethal from what I hear. The guy does have something, so that remains to be seen. He did not have it in this segment, so hopefully he brings it next time. So at the end of the day, it's Swerve got two white men working for him, so and then Ross is kind of like the mouthpiece for this thing. So I don't know if Ross is there on an every week type of thing or a sometimes thing, but I think putting Ross in the group, who is a lot stronger in pre-tape promos and backstage interviews, will be a great thing for Swerve, kind of outside the ring as well as inside the ring. Like, it's not every day you kind of get to link with a legendary rapper, and I think Swerve's mission here is to really appeal to beyond the wrestling fan here. This is like, we saw a lot of like people kind of came out, didn't like this segment. I wasn't the biggest fan of the segment myself, but I, you can look at XXL posting it and different hip hop blogs and all the IG stuff, and it's breaking into other places that that I think any wrestling company would kind of kill for. The people that drive social media are black people, and that's just how it is. Like black people set the trends, and the world kind of figures it out. So Grandin Goatsman, appreciate you, Zack Sabre or Black Sabre Jr. Grandin Goatsman was his name, but I think the Mogul Affiliates thing is a cool idea. I like the shirts. I'm going to be ordering one for sure, and I'm interested to see where he goes with it. If they're going to add anybody else to the group, kind of in ring wise, maybe if I could, I know Parker and the other guy are young, but maybe another young wrestler that is kind of like a high work rate potential kind of guy. So I haven't seen either of these. I've seen Parker in limited capacities, never seen the other guy, but yeah. I'm being asked if I'm going to be the next member. I am not a high work rate individual at this point. I am someone who enjoys the high work rate, but if the Mogul Affiliates need some music, I'm one call away, and I'm excited about the Mogul Affiliates. So I guess I'm an affiliate, you can say that. So yeah, but as far as as far as this segment, I don't think the segment was great. I think there's definitely room to improve, and I'm a trust Swerve on this. I always trust Swerve. Whatever he puts his heart into and his mind into, he's gonna figure it out. So not worried at all. So after that, we got the main event: Jamie Hayter taking on Hikaru Shida. This main event was fantastic. This is Jamie Hayter's first defense with the championship, and she just showed up like it was her time. And then Shida came out. Shida had new gear on, and Jamie Hayter was promising we were going to see 1990s All Japan women's wrestling. I don't know if we saw that, but it was damn close. Hella near falls at the end. Lots of striking in the beginning. Fast pace. Knees. Suplexes in the corner. Moves off the apron. And if you didn't see this match, go out of your way to see this. There's a lot of lazy narratives that we've squashed on this show about the women's division in AEW. They're not doing this on these big WWE shows with at a regular kind of occurrence, and this has been something between the Storm and Hayter back-to-back reigns. The women's division in AEW, the top of it, is turning in some really solid performances, with this match definitely being the class of it. As I mentioned, 4.5 stars for me on this. And there was a Britt Baker spot at the end of the match. Britt comes in without Jamie noticing she was there, gets kind of taken out, and then that allows Hayter to basically take advantage, and ends up hitting her with the lariat. And then like I said, they did some great kickouts at the end, super near falls. That crowd's just going nuts for this. Definitely high recommend. And it was they got the main event spot and they were going to kill it. So shouts out to Jamie Hayter and Hikaru Shida. But yeah, man, the last thing I guess we're going to go ahead and do is hit the music. Yes, I hit the music for myself on that one. That's not rare that happens. We're going to hear it talk about Stardom real quick. We have a very big show. It's kind of like Stardom versus Outsiders in this show. I think there were mixed reception to the card. There were some people that would have wanted more for such a big show in this year. But this, you look at this card here and what we've got. We got a Stardom Rumble that's going to have Rina, Hina, Lady C, Miyu, and Masaki, Waka Tsukiyama, Yuna Mizumori, Tomoka, Saki, Fugikin Death, Chairman Ram, Super Stardom Machine, XX, and more. So we'll see. The Rambos are the Rambos. Pink Kabuki returns, so we got Mina Shirakawa and Unagi Sayaka return to Stardom. She'll be taking on Maya Sakurai and Tekla of DDM, so that should be a good match. We got the Triangle Derby Prelude with Mayu Watani, Hanan, and Momo Kogo taking on Hazuki, Kaguma, and Saida. This is a get everyone on the card show. Looks like got a number one contender for the three-way tag number one contenders match. Excuse me. We got Mirai and Ami of God's Eye taking on Micah and Nameka, and then Natsuko Tora and Raka. This could be Micah and Himeka's to lose. So I like Mirai and Ami, but I feel like we're still on a collision course with Mai, Hime, and Meltier. So up next, we've got Kairi versus Utami Hayashishita. This is a non-title match. Kairi is the IWGP Women's Champion, of course. The loser of this match will have to wear their rookie gear and make their entrance with no music or any kind of theatrics, and they're going to have to run to the ring. So, I don't know what's going to happen on this. I don't want to see Utami lose the fly gear, but it seems like she might have to lose it. Not a fan of that personally. So I'm looking forward to the match. This should be hard hitting, and they've had some interesting press conference stuff. So definitely check that out. Definitely want to see that. We got the High Speed Championship. We got Azumi versus Hikari Shimizu from Colors. Yes, I did see that actually. Unagi did an interview saying she's going to be in America during WrestleMania weekend. She wants to appear for several promotions, and hey, bring her in, promoters. Definitely. Like, I'm not going to LA, but if I was, I would definitely be trying to see the eel. So Azumi has had this belt for quite a while now. They are basically lining up, the Joe Louis bum of the month. I'm not calling Hikari Shimizu a bum or anything, but it's just like, who else wants some of Azumi? That's what's going on here. So up next, it seems like, she's keeping that warm for whenever they have her fight Tekla, because that's, I think, the match everybody's looking forward to seeing. Up next, we got a hardcore match for the trios championships. We got Saki Kashima, Momo Watanabe, and Starlight Kid taking on Risa Sera, Suzuki, and Karumi Hiragi. So this match, if it's a hardcore match, we know whose match this is. Like, this is Risa Sera's style match. This is Suzuki's match. Saki, I'm not really sure if Saki wants to do the weapons and all that. Like, she's trying to hit you with the crucifix and get you out of there. Momo's about that life. I'm sure Starlight Kid's about that life, but I'm not going to call a title change here, but I wouldn't be shocked by one. We got the tag team championship match. Natsupoi and Tam will be taking on the winners of the Stardom Tag League, Nanae Takahashi and you. So YUU. This should be interesting. I hope Nai beats the shit out of Natsupoi and gives me something to laugh at. And it's gonna be like these small, like, little girls against like these big monsters. So this could be violent. But Tam and Natsupoi will bring it. Like, they I talk a lot of junk about Natsupoi and Tam, but they ain't no punks. So excited for this one. We've got the World of Stardom championship match. It's going to be Sai Kamitani defending the white belt against Haruka Umasaki. I don't know much about her, but she's kind of being trusted to step in this spot with Sai Kamitani. I trust Big Saya or Tall Saya in these positions, so I don't think she's going to be dropping the championship. They're not going to switch to white and the red 2 years in a row at the same show, possibly. It looks like they're going to avoid that. Saya will retain here. And then our main event, the match that the year has been building to, the rematch of, I believe it was in March, if I'm not mistaken, Syuri versus Giulia. And this is a really, really, really big match. A match so big, we put it on the Wrestler of the Match of the Year list before it even happened. I think this is it's Giulia's time. Everything's been building up for her. I think the Western fans are really, like, en masse kind of ready to see what Giulia can do with it. Syuri's had a phenomenal run. She's best women's wrestler in the world. She could stand to drop the title and maybe, like, drop down the card just a little bit. maybe jump over into that IWGP Women's division at some point. Maybe jump in tags or the trios division. Take a small rest, take a bow for what you've done this year. But this red belt match, this is built for Giulia. I'd be shocked if Syuri retained, or if they even went to a draw or anything. I don't think we're getting a draw. I don't think we're getting Syuri winning. This is Giulia time, baby. So Tam Nakano gonna have to watch that. Anybody that don't like Giulia gonna have to watch that. Yes, I think I might have to write a eulogy for Syuri's reign. Indeed, Black Sabre Jr. But yeah, man, I appreciate you guys rocking with me throughout this show today. This was a show where it looks like we're clocking it in just over 2 hours here by myself, and this was a difficult show to do because it's a lot of award stuff, and James is still in the air, so he should be landing pretty shortly here. And it's always fun to do One Nation Radio with James. It was cool to do it this week, but don't count on it doing it by myself all the time. If you guys enjoyed the show, please let me know. I like to hear such things. You can reach me on Twitter at RichLatta32. You guys know where to find the shows on the network. Make sure you are downloading this show from the One Nation Radio feed. Make sure you check out the rest of the shows on the network. We got Keepin It Strong Style, One Nation Radio, of course, All Things Elite. We've also got my man Danny with his shows. We've also got my man Sam Brown with the archive of the AEW Match Guide Generator. Or excuse me, I'm conflating the shows. We have Sam's show, the AEW Match Guide podcast, which are evergreen shows, so check those out. So make sure you guys keep rocking with us, and we'll be back next week. We'll have James back on, and he'll let us know how Japan is going, and I will continue to recover from COVID once again. And I thank you guys for always listening to the show. This is the last One Nation Radio of the year, so maybe I'll get a little sentimental right here, maybe I won't, but I just want to thank you guys for your continued listenership of this show. And we celebrated 10 years this year on the air, and it's almost feels like we're still scratching the surface, because there's so much more that we can do and accomplish, and just keep cultivating. And I have a great time hosting this show all the time, and it really brings a lot of light into my everyday life. And I think that it's really cool that you guys continue to rock with not only James but myself, week by week, month by month, whether you're in the Discord talking with us, if you're member of the Twitch chat. I appreciate you guys. Hit us with the bits for sure. Ones in the chat, all that stuff. And it's an honor and a pleasure to keep bringing you this show. And I just thank you guys very much, and hope you guys will listen to the FOH draft, which is you want, like, we get unhinged week to week on this thing, but that shit is gold. Make sure you get the FOH. I'm gonna pop it in at the end of this. So make sure you guys have a great week. Be safe over the New Year's. There's a lot of don't know what can happen on the New Year's, but 2023 One Nation Radio will be here. So we'll holla at y'all, and we closing out 2022. Peace.
Winter season is here, and Discount Tire wants you to stay safe on the road. Get 30% shorter average wait time when you buy and book online at DiscountTire.com. Discount Tire. Let's get you taken care of.
Let's get you taken care of. Your favorite band's about to play a sold-out show, and you definitely got tickets. And drinks. Now hurry and make it back to your spot. Past this person and that person. About 20 more. Ooh, watch out for feet.
Hey.
Just keep going. A little further. Oh, there's your friend.
Over here.
Right where you want to be. Close enough to see the set list. And they're definitely playing your song. When you're with Amex, it's not if it's going to happen, but when. American Express. Don't live life without it.